When folks in high-profile positions leave, it gives us a great chance to look back at their tenure to see how it went and how far we've come towards solving some of the big problems. When it comes to the leader of the FBI for Oregon, that does cover a lot of territory. Kieran Ramsey is from the East Coast, from Boston, I believe, and arrived in Portland as the special agent in charge for Oregon in January of 2021, basically 3 years ago. Earlier this week, I had a chance to sit down with him for a 30-minute discussion on the challenges that he found when he got to Oregon and the challenges we still face as a state.
So when we think about, as I first got here, we had significant issues with gun and gang violence. The fact that we weren't all even talking about the same issue or in the same way was a huge concern. And there was, a lot of inability by team law enforcement writ large, not just the FBI, to do something about it. Portland
dismantled its gang enforcement team.
Yep, but I think Portland police have made tremendous strides, and they're doing, the lion's share of the work at this point. But one of the first things we were able to get off the ground as I got here was the Metro Safe Streets Task Force, which was really the first comprehensive effort with federal, state, and local authorities to come together and say, okay, we have a major gun violence issue here. A lot of it is driven by gang violence. What are we doing about it? And that's come really a long way since we started. And as you look at the stats right now, homicides are down around 30%. Shootings are down again around 30%. All shootings told, about 12% are related to gang activity or gang adjacent. Those are numbers that we're seeing that are trending in the right direction. Admittedly, it's no reason for celebratory, slaps on the back and hey, we did it, or anybody to take credit for anything yet. But the numbers are trending in the right direction, and it needs to continue.
Well, we wanted to take a look at those numbers for ourselves and found that indeed Portland did see a dramatic rise in violence during 2021. And also it does appear to be getting a bit better. Let's take a look at the shooting incidents. According to Portland police, there were 413 shootings in 2019, then 919 in 2020, and 1,315 in 2021. It dropped slightly in 2022 to 1,309, and the numbers are not all in yet for this year. But if we look at January to October comparisons by year, also from Portland police, you can see the steady climb in shooting incidents from 2019 through 2022, and then it fell 21% this year from last, if you're just looking through those January through October timeframes. Homicides in Portland following a similar path, moving up from 57 in 2020 to then 88 people killed in 2021, and then 97 in 2022. That was a record. And then back down to 77 so far this year. So it is clear he arrived as gun violence was really taking off and getting extreme in the Portland area. Of course, that was during the pandemic as well, and lots of other cities around the country were having big time challenges like we did, which of course does not excuse what happened here. I think it's also interesting that it apparently took the FBI leader for Oregon to pull everyone together for a coordinated attack on this problem. I asked what made the difference behind the scenes. Ramsey said in the beginning, it was political leaders not supporting Portland police.
But we needed the backing of elected officials at even the local level. And I think we've come really a long ways from where there were even issues of the inability for, let's say, the city to really have good comms and good collaboration with the FBI. That's gone away. I mean, I have great relationships with the city council, with the mayor. He's been to my office a number of times. I think everybody understands what the problem is and what we need to do about it, and be it, through Multnomah County DA's office or Sheriff's office or Gresham, or even our surrounding county partners, and between ourselves and the ATF and others, everybody understands that this amount of gun violence for Portland or for the metro region has to be stopped. It has to turn around, and I think I'm hopeful we're on the right track.
I've been here 33 years. There's always been some sort of a gang violence problem. What makes this different?
Well, back 3 years ago, people weren't even allowed to acknowledge that it was a gang violence issue, which was astounding to me. And I use the term gang not as a prejudicial or pejorative term, and I understand that there are people in the community that feel it is a prejudicial and pejorative term, but it's written into federal law, and that's in fact what it was. I mean, we had plenty of folks telling us, no, this is gang violence. I think also when we took a step towards the community, there are a number of great organizations out there like Love is Stronger and March Against Murder and all these other organizations that were trying to do something from the grassroots level. And we actually stepped towards them and said, hey, what do you think? What can we do to partner with you? How can we help this situation, recognizing historically perhaps our office wasn't a partner with them. And I think that's turned around tremendously at this point.
And with that, we moved on to big picture threats in Oregon. As the special agent in charge of the FBI for the state, Ramsey is aware of a lot of threats that most of us don't see in our day-to-day lives. So I asked him, what are the top 3 threats in our area?
So right off the top, cybercrime. It continues to plague the entire U.S. It really plagues globally everybody. But the fact is we have some very big, important companies here in the state of Oregon. They are being targeted every day. We have a lot of public sector entities that are being targeted, and then we have everybody else. And when we think about things like ransomware that continues to hit us here in Oregon and how busy our cyber team is here, it's really something that is not going away anytime soon, and is going to continue to really take up a lot of bandwidth and really require a lot of expertise so that we're effectively combating it here. Again, not just in Oregon, but around the entire country.
And you probably know what he's talking about. You've probably experienced the fallout in the last year with notification that maybe some of your information was hacked somewhere. I'm one of the millions who had to change my Xfinity password after the company announced this week that hackers got access to the personal information of as many as 36 million of us customers. Lovely. Let's move on to threat number 2.
Number 2, I use the term domestic terrorism, but I understand that's a very weighty term, but that anti-government, anti-authority violent extremists. We can go back to the summer of 2020 and remember what we saw there. And I'm not talking about the thousands of people that protested lawfully, that exercised their First Amendment protected activities in a very lawful, legitimate way. I'm talking about those, hundreds of people that sought to hijack that entire thing by looting, by committing arson, by assaulting police officers, and continuing to do it today. For whatever the flashpoint is, they'll take whatever issue they can and then seek to destroy, seek to disrupt, seek to hurt people and businesses through serious violent criminal conduct.
Is that unique in Oregon?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily unique, but Oregon has pretty much every type of character within this umbrella. We have, again, on the one side, the anti-government, anti-authority violent extremists. On the other, we have this racially and ethnically motivated violent extremists. So you can think of the extreme left and the extreme right. They're all here in Oregon. And unfortunately, we see activity by those 2 types all around the state, but certainly here in the metro area. And that is going to continue to concern us all. I think as we come into this 2024 election cycle, the concern that we all have, and I say team law enforcement, let alone the FBI, in terms of political violence, the threat of political violence is pretty significant. When we just look at the rhetoric that we see out there, be it in the media or in social media, the rhetoric continues to get more specific, and it continues to increase its calls for violence. That's concerning.
Definitely something to keep in mind for all of us. Finally, for the third big danger facing Oregon, it's hate crimes. Ramsey says they are happening and they are not being reported.
The big problem, though, is we're just not seeing the reporting of them because we know so many people are intimidated or afraid or worried about coming forward to law enforcement. And that's something that we've worked on extensively. Even right now as we sit here, we have an entire ad campaign running through PDX Airport with billboards, as well as billboards down in Eugene and Medford area. Again, we partner with Oregon Department of Justice's bias hotline and our partners, again, across the state, but unfortunately we know that underreporting of hate crimes continues.
And that is a problem because it allows the hate crimes to continue themselves, maybe even grow. And that's bad for everyone. Ramsey says he's enjoyed his time in Oregon, and when he retires in the not so distant future, he plans to return and settle down here. As far as who will replace him in the head of the FBI for our area, we don't know. has not been yet announced. We would love to hear your thoughts on our outgoing interview with Special Agent in Charge Ramsey. What do you think about things he had to say, especially about the threats that we are facing here in our state? Shoot us an email, will you? Or actually send is probably a better word. The address is thestory@kgw.com, or call and leave a voicemail. The number is 503-226-5090.